Okay, let's go through the basics of getting an agenda up and conditioned so it's ready to print really well. So open a file, and we'll just grab this guy right here from one of last year's sample files. And notice that we are in the document workspace. So part of what's going on here is we have a mix of orientations of sheets. We also have a mixture of size. So to get everything so that it's all 8.5 by 11 and all portrait, what we're going to do is we're going to select one of the portrait sheets that focused us on 41. We'll do a right click on that one and select all media with the same size and orientation. And then because we actually want the stuff that isn't that, we're going to select again, do a right click, select, invert. That's going to select all the sheets that are either letter landscape or not letter at all, like these down here that are 8.5 by 14. By doing that, if we scroll down so that we can see one of those guys, we'll right click on one of the ones that is now selected, assign media, and call that 8.5 by 11. That brings up this dialog. Because we have some that are oversized, we do want to scale pages. Click OK. And we see that now those 8.5 by 14s are now 8.5 by 11. So still being selected, and those are the ones that are landscape and all now 8.5 by 11. We'll take those guys and rotate left. Now, all of our sheets in this document are 8.5 by 11, and they're all portrait. If we select, do a right click, select just to make sure everything is nice and pretty, scroll up, and those are. So these are all now 8.5 by 11. Next, we want to assign those to an actual media from the media catalog. Now mine, because I'm on a different system, I don't have the same naming that you guys have, but what I'm going to do is find some of my 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to use my 20-pound bond and assign that. Now we have an actual media assigned that is part of the machine. Next, what we want to do is make sure that everything is two-sided, and it currently looks like it is. That's good. So next we want to find the beginning of all the section headers, which in Adobe Acrobat are your bookmarks. So from Exhibit 1, 2, 3, and so forth, what we're going to do is right-click up here and select first page of every section. Now what this does, I know that you guys don't want a tab to show up in front of table of contents, so we'll hold down the control key on the keyboard and click that once, and that one is deselected. Now we're going to take one of these that is still selected, right click, insert sheet before from media catalog, and we are going to reset our filter there, and down to tabs, and we have some 25 bank tabs here. Insert those, and that put tab sheets in front of all of our exhibits. Wait for that to redraw, bring it back up to the top, and now under tab captions, we have the tabs, the tab media inserted and in place. You'll notice that there's a red circle and a slash. That means that Prepare knows that this is being tab media. It's only allowed to print on one side. So it obviously knows that sheets have two sides, but it just is not going to try and print on the back. Up in tab captions, and again, this is second screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to import, but instead of importing the section names, and what this would do is it would take and call these tabs exhibit number 1, exhibit number 2. That's going to be really difficult to fit on a little 1/4 inch wide tab. So instead, we're going to browse out to, and I think that you guys have yours as CSV files. So I'm going to click all files from a filter and grab the numbers 1 to 25. Open those and make sure it's importing to this group. Say OK. And we're still going on the 25 bank tabs. We're going to check our font. I think that you guys are using Calibri. Regular, 14 point, OK. And OK. Now what we want to do is we want to verify that when these show up on the tabs that they're actually printing. So give that a second. And there we go. So let's make sure that we have numbers on these things. There we go. And we do. There's number 3. So these are technically ready to go. I'm going to let this go back to 10 so we can see the big bulk here. I don't think there's anything else we need here. Oh, yes, there is. We need to put 3-hole punch on these. So on the keyboard, Control A to select all. We're going to add 3-hole punch, and that will show up on here as a preview so you can see what's going on. Let's see if we need, I think that we're okay on this one, but that's going to have your table of contents show up in the front. And page 2 right now, if that's okay, let me get this a little bit bigger so we can see that. If it's okay to have the agenda on the back side of that, then just leave it the way it is. If we need that to be on its own page, then we'll select page 1 here and set it to one-sided. That will blank the back of that and put the agenda on the next side. So that is, we got the tabs, the holes going on the wrong side here. Hang on a second. No, that is the side. Okay. So after that, just as a reminder, the exhibits here, we don't have to be pre-naming these bookmarks in Acrobat. We actually have the ability to create these here, and it works the same way as it does with Acrobat. You would just select a range. So if we're going to recreate, or if we're going to create exhibit number 1, we would do click and then shift click, right click, section, level, create, and give it a name, and you would do that throughout the entire document. I don't know if that would be faster for you than Acrobat, but it is something that's very functional here in Prepare. So off to production. Now every time you launch Prepare for the first time, if it's been closed and reopened, this will always start you off at the prepared PDF to print. But right now I have it going to my Vario print over in Portland. So by default, you have a quantity of 1. You can make this anything you want it to. It's going to waiting jobs by default. It can go to scheduled jobs, which means it's going to start printing immediately. And you have a print range. Now, if you had selected a range of sheets over in the document space, that's what selected sheets means. So we can see over on the right-hand side that we have 41 sheets of bond, and we have 7 sheets of your 25 bank tab stock. There's nothing else we need to do here, so just clicking print. That will now be out at our machine. So I'm going to click over here and go to Remote Manager. And our central operator password is 123456778. And our job is right here. So from here, you can either edit the job, like different media, you can delete the job, you could forward it to another machine, like for you guys it would be, I think it's OSS and I remember what the other department is, cancel. This one right here, this is a proof print and a print. So if we had set the quantity on this job instead of 1, if we set this instead to 10, and OK, if we click print, it's going to print all 10 sets, and it will end up over in the printed jobs. If we click this one instead, which is proof, it'll make one complete set. Make sure that you like the way it is. Now, if you click print again, if you click print after this, it's going to print another 10 sets. So if you like the first one and you only need 10, then change the quantity to 9. And that is the long and short. But there's one more thing here. We can see paper tray information. So we can't assign media here, but we can see what's in the machine or what it thinks it has. And that is it for this tutorial. Thank you.